Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to take a little look at some of my EDC pocket folding knives, the ones that I've collected over the years. I'm going to talk a little bit about each one and give you guys a bit of an idea on my thoughts on them, where they come from. I've got various pocket folders and fixed blades that I've had for many years, utilized some of them quite heavily, some of them haven't been utilized too much. But we're just going to take a look at them now, and I'm going to go through with a brief description. So let's just jump straight in. One of the first ones that I've had for quite some time is this Leatherman. This is a small Leatherman, I think it's a CX something or another. It's got the nice little carabiner on the back over here, so you can clip it onto something, and then to unlock it you've got to push it down, slide it back in. It's not a very big knife, quite a nice little blade, been sharpened up. And it's done its time with me quite well, and it's been quite a reliable knife. I've probably had this little knife for around 6 years, maybe a little bit longer, I'm not sure. I passed it on to a friend, it came back to me, and I still got it. So yeah, that was the one. I actually got that one back from the friend after purchasing this knife over here. This comes from Cash Crusaders. This is a cheap Chinese knife, probably made very cheap, but in so saying, this is 3, maybe 4 years old, and look at it, it's still actually okay. So this is my main sort of box opening beat around the bush knife. They call it a Grizzly, I don't know the brand. It's got the seatbelt cut on the back here, glass breaker. I have sharpened it a couple of times, so it is quite sharp at the moment. Not too bad. Aluminium scales, liner lock, you can see in the middle over there. It's not very thick, it's not very strong, but you know what, it's actually held up alright for cutting tasks, etc., and it hasn't done too bad. Then I've had a range of other knives which I've passed on, gifted to friends, etc. The one I kept because it couldn't be gifted away was this little Honey Badger. In fact, a very good friend of mine got my Honey Badger large flipper. This one, it actually has my name laser etched onto it, so this one didn't go. I really like Honey Badger as a brand. Some nice thick pieces of metal. This is what they call their worm cleaver. If you're a budget knife user, I can highly recommend these Honey Badger knives. They are brilliant, and they've got a knife for pretty much any sort of task. Comfortable to hold, got a ball bearing system in there, nice little liner lock, so you can unlock it there, slide it away. But the smoothness, there's no spring assist, it's got the little D10 ball, you can hear it clicking in, then just pushing on here, and once that D10 releases, flies open, nice and smooth. A really nice EDC knife if you don't have a ton of money to spend on them. Can highly recommend these. Now going on to some of the other things that I do carry sometimes. This is purely a Stanley knife or a utility blade. I like this for box opening instead of using my knives, etc., because you can just replace the blade at will. I have some others over here. Now I'm going to move on to some of the stuff that I carry more often. This comes in a nice little bag, by the way. I have reviewed this. This is more of a collector knife for me. This is the Civivi. I can't remember the exact model. Quite a large, also that same sort of system as the Honey Badger. And as you can see, it's more or less the same size, but it's got quite a nice bellied knife on it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Honey Badger, just with a more substantial bellied knife, and I just like this design, I really do. You got the deep pocket carry, pocket clip, smooth, you've got really nice liner lock over there. Great little knife to own. I haven't carried this one too much, and again, that very smooth ball bearing with the detent in the blade, flies open with ease. Nice knife to have, and I can see it being quite practical with the grind on this knife, but like I say, I haven't had much use on it yet. Maybe as time goes on it will become one of my EDC knives to carry. At this point in time, it's a nice knife, but it's not my daily knife. I also have, out of interest, a Victorinox, which actually I don't carry on my person, but it does sit in my bag in this homemade paracord pouch. This is the Victorinox Swiss Champ. I can't remember what revision or version or whatever. It's just your standard Swiss Champ sort of multi-tool. Slides into this little pouch and gets kept in there in my bag for if I do need tweezers or any of those sort of tools. It does a great job. Now heading on to more of the stuff that I do use on a daily basis. This is a rubbish, completely junk, dirt cheap, Chinese knockoff Spyderco paramilitary 2, horrendously made. Sharpens up, doesn't hold an edge very well, but it does sharpen up quite nicely. And again, used more as a throwaway, beat it up, lose it, don't really care. I've added this little bit of paracord on the end over here. Don't get me wrong, not a bad knife. I think the original, such as the one my friend has, would be brilliant. Talking about that friend, he actually passed on, he uses the paramilitary too, but he passed this knife on to me. Now this is a Spyderco Manix 2XL, genuine, not Chinese. You can see by the build quality on these knives, straight away you'll tell the difference between the Chinese knives and the real thing when you look at it. Also, I don't believe the Chinese have made very many knockoff versions of this knife. The blade on this, I love the bigger bellied blades. This is my favorite EDC. It has become one of my favorite folding knives. I love the feel on this. If you're wanting to get purchase on something, cut, whatever you need to do, it's a nice big chunk of steel. It's large, so if you compare it to any of my bigger knives, you'll see it's a little bit bigger than them. And I really enjoy carrying this knife. I enjoy using this knife. It has been sharpened up. You can shave with this thing if you want to right now. The only thing I've had to get used to is Spyderco manually put the edges on the blade, and this has got two different edges on it. The first edge being I think it was around 20 degrees, and the second edge being 17 degrees. So when I sharpen it, I'm now sharpening it the same way, and it's keeping that edge so well. This is that, I think it's Sandvik or CPMS 30V steel. Sorry, CPMS 30V steel, a really good blade steel. And I really like the locking mechanism. You'll see when I disengage the lock, how the blade just swings loose. So get your blade out, you can literally, you know what I mean? But I love the thumb stud and I love this knife. This is my absolute favorite. Carrying it with me most of the time at the moment and enjoying it for many of the tasks that I use a cutting blade for. Another large blade that I've recently got, which review will be coming out quite soon, is this. This is the CRKT M16 14 DSFG. It's got the nice G10 stainless steel liners. It's got that auto lock system of CRKTs. It's got the double flipper. Well, it's actually one flipper. The other one is just a stop. A nice little pocket clip. And also a nice sized chunk of steel. This blade is I can't remember this, I think it's 8CR13 MOV or slightly better than that. It's a Tanto blade, but it is titanium nitride coated. This blade has seen no uses yet, so I've only recently gotten this. Like I say, the review's still coming out for this over the next couple of days. Watch out for that. This, I had a M16 before, also a Tonto with the original sort of slightly different grind. I can't even remember what it was, but it was also the Special Forces edition, but it was more of a stonewash gray blade, similar sort of color but more camo. This is sort of a fixed G10 rough finish. CRKT makes some brilliant knives for the money. And then of course, even if you disengage a beautiful liner lock, it's not going to disengage unless you unlock the auto locks. Then you can put her away. Brilliant knife nonetheless. And then something which only literally was received yesterday from our friends at Blades and Triggers is this new CRKT. Now, I just want to show you guys, there's a bit of a size difference, like a substantial size difference. This knife here is more pocketable in a work environment, in my opinion. Going outdoors, sure, you grab the big guys, or you grab my Manix 2. This over here is, I really like it. Aluminium scales. This is a frame lock knife, not a liner lock, but spear point, razor sharp. In fact, I dropped this thing on day one, and it just touched my foot and sliced it open like it was nothing. So be careful with these. The blade isn't quite as thick and strong as, let's just say, this M16. You can see there's a substantial difference in the blade steel thickness, but this is a very high quality. This is Sandvik steel of some form or another. I can't remember the exact numbers at this point in time, but in the review that's coming up for this knife, we will talk about it. There's a bit of a difference in blade length and width, but for me, I think this would become a really cool sort of around the office everyday carry knife. It's easy to conceal. It's got a nice substantial pocket clip on it, and of course there you can see the frame lock engaged. My only gripe about this frame lock is it doesn't stand out, so you actually need to get your finger in there to disengage it and put it away. But again, got the little flipper, really smooth, brilliant. And this is the M16 03 BK spear point. Don't poke anything with this, it's plucks and sharp. But yeah, there you have my sort of daily carry knives. At this point in time, it's between the Spyderco Manix 2 XL. That's one of my primary EDCs. The CRKT large M16 flipper, another one of my primary to become EDCs. And of course this little CRKT. I can see this guy getting a lot more pocket time with me initially. This is more my outdoor, going out there doing some survival stuff work, and this will become more of my sort of going to the office, carrying something in my pocket, use knife. That is pretty much the discussion for today. There is going to be more discussions. In fact, I'll make another video regarding my fixed blade knives, of which I have a large collection. Not many of them are here, but we will go through those. Oh, before we forget, there's two more knives. One of them is a fixed blade that I do EDC quite often, and another one that's kind of in my pocket a lot of the times. This is a Tarani Karambit. The reason why I love this thing is it is a defensive knife. So you could get in, you could do like sort of a lock move, swing it around, slice the throat. You can do whatever you want. You kind of get used to these knives, and they're actually brilliant for a defensive situation. If you want something and you want to learn knife defense, great thing to have. Most of the knife defense that I learned was unfortunately on a fixed blade like this, which is the cold steel Tonto. So this is my what I would call my primary sort of fighting knife. If I was to carry a fighting knife, this would be the one that I would get into the fight with before any of the others. But of course you can't walk around the office with something like this. You're going to raise a lot of questions. So the fixed blade that I do carry is this Fox. It's got this really cool belt clip which you can attach. You can also rotate it, but this thing hides quite nicely next to my EDC, my other EDC defense weapon. I'm not going to go into details about that. And this also review will come out soon. This is a Fox blade, fixed blade, Fox, what they call it, Fox steel or Fox knives. The model of this one is the FE018. I think they're just over R1,000 blades and triggers. So if you're looking for a really cool little fixed blade just to carry around on you, I would definitely look at this guy. Very positive clip, not going to fall out. Great piece of kit to have. Check them out if you're looking for a fixed blade that's easy to conceal, multiple carry options on your belt, bag, whatever you want, and very lightweight, easy to deploy, and very easy to use. Guys, thanks for watching this one, and until next time, cheers for now.